Have you ever heard of a book where just one chapter is enough to make your hair stand on end? Welcome to Revelation, the Bible's apocalyptic blockbuster written by one of the masterminds of early Christianity, the Apostle John. And no, he didn't write it in a quiet coffee shop with a latte by his side. Instead, he wrote it under dire circumstances. While living in Ephesus, a city known not only for its beautiful architecture, but also for its harsh treatment of believers who dared to challenge the power of the Roman Empire. Imagine living in a time when, every year, on a special day called the Lord's Day, Roman, not Jesus's, you had to attend a forced festival. There, you would stand before an altar, burn incense, raise your hands to the sky and shout, "Caesar is Lord." If you don't, you'll not only be considered a traitor, but you'll also risk losing your job, your home, or worse, your life. Now, imagine you were a believer in those days. You believed that Jesus was the only Lord, and declaring otherwise was tantamount to signing a surrender to the devil. You were faced with a choice like those on survival shows. Option A, say Caesar is Lord, and continue living a life of false peace. Option B, say Jesus is Lord, and prepare to face the painful but proud consequences. So when John wrote this book, he was not only recording prophecies about the future, but also sending a powerful message of encouragement to believers facing extreme pressure. Keep the faith, even if it costs you everything. Ironically, the Roman Emperor Domitian, who ordered all to worship him as a god, probably did not know that he would be the firebrand that fueled the early believers' determination. In that challenging context, Revelation became a spiritual compass, not only answering big questions about the end of the world, but also a living inspiration for those willing to sacrifice to protect their faith. What's more interesting is how John plays big in his storytelling. He doesn't just record what he sees and hears in his visions, but turns it into an action movie filled with symbolic imagery, trumpet blasts, and terrifying villains. Revelation is not just a book, but a visual and spiritual experience that will keep you glued to your seat from start to finish. So the question is, what would you do if you lived in that era? Would you have the courage to stand up, despite the danger, and say, Jesus is Lord? The challenge is not just for the ancients, but for us today as well. And if you are curious to know more about what John saw in his visions, prepare yourself for more drama. Have you ever read a book where every page is filled with strange images that make you both curious and creepy? Welcome to Revelation, the richest and most profound treasure trove of symbols in the entire Bible. But don't worry, today we're going to decode these heavenly codes in a way that's easy to understand, funny, and full of surprises. Symbols in Revelation, 4-group game. Easy group, say it and you'll understand it. These are naked symbols that anyone can understand. For example, the dragon is the devil, as easy as a first-grade math problem. The lake of fire? Hell, of course. The white throne? God's place of judgment. If Revelation were a game, this would be the warm-up to help you get familiar with the rules. The group that is explained directly. There are books. There are proofs. These symbols are revealed right in the text, as if the author himself did the work for the viewer. The star? It's an angel. The lampstand? It represents the church. And the incense? It's a prayer that goes straight to God. Simple, short, and no guessing required. The group that appears in other parts of the Bible, the connection game. This is where you need to turn on Google the Bible in your head. The rainbow? The tree of life? The iron rod? That's right. They appeared in the Old Testament. Think of Revelation as the endgame of the Bible, where all the symbols from the previous parts come back to form a bigger picture. If you're a fan of stories that connect the multiverse, this is your favorite part. The group that is difficult to explain, the super challenge, this is where the game gets more intense. What is the white stone? Innocence? The sign of acceptance? An invitation to the Last Supper? Scholars have proposed dozens of theories, but no one knows for sure. Sometimes, you have to wait until God reveals it himself. Number 7. The number of perfection. If Revelation were a Hollywood movie, the number 7 would be the brightest star. You'd see it everywhere. 7 seals, 7 trumpets, 7 bowls. 7 lamps, 7 stars, even 7 spirits. But why is the number 7 so important? In biblical tradition, the number 7 represents perfection and completeness. That's why everything in Revelation is designed around this number. It reminds us that God is in control of everything in absolute perfection. The symbols in Revelation are not just decorative images, but pieces of a larger apocalyptic puzzle. Imagine you are on a decoding journey to understand what awaits at the end of the road. And hey, if you find a white stone in your hand, don't throw it away. It might be your VIP ticket to meet God on the last day. Are you ready for the most terrifying apocalyptic disaster show in human history? Buckle up, because we're about to enter the 7 trumpets from the book of Revelation, where each trumpet blast brings with it a disaster that will make your hair stand on end. This isn't a horror movie trailer. It's a prophecy from the Catholic Bible. Trumpet 1, green destruction. As soon as the first trumpet blast sounds, what happens? Imagine you're looking at a lush green forest, and suddenly whoosh, hail, fire, and blood rain down. A third of the trees are burned to the ground, and all the green grass turns to ash. This disaster feels like nature betraying us. Extremely stressful. Trumpet 2, sea of blood. Think the beach is a relaxing place? Think again. When the second trumpet blasts, something like a burning mountain plummets into the sea. The result? A third of the sea turns to blood. Ships sink, and sea creatures die en masse. You will never look at the ocean with normal eyes again. Trumpet 3, freshwater disaster. Not only is the sea affected, but the freshwater supply is also affected. The third trumpet causes a bright star called wormwood to fall, polluting a third of the rivers and lakes. The water is now undrinkable, and many people die of thirst. Sounds like a post-apocalyptic episode, right? Trumpet 4, the light goes out. Now look up at the sky. At the fourth trumpet, you will see a third of the sun, moon, and stars darken. The days and nights become dark, as if someone has turned on the dimming switch of the universe. A creepy and ominous feeling covers the entire earth. Trumpet 5, the gates of hell are opened. If you thought the above was bad enough, then prepare yourself for the fifth trumpet. When it sounds, the abyss, where the evil spirits are imprisoned, is opened. From there, swarms of demonic locusts pour out, not eating trees like normal locusts, but aiming straight for humans. These creatures have the strength of scorpions, causing terrible pain, to the point that people beg for death but cannot die. This scene is more terrifying than any horror movie you have ever seen. Trumpet 6, the Legion of Assassins. The sixth trumpet releases 4 chained angels at the Euphrates River. Their mission? To lead a huge army, numbering up to 200 million, to massacre a third of humanity. The descriptions of the horsemen and their war horses are beyond imagination, bizarre and terrifying. Trumpet 7, the end. The final trumpet not only brings disaster, but also signals the return of Jesus Christ. This is the time when God completes his plan of salvation and judgment. Those who belong to God will be redeemed, while those who are stubborn will face the ultimate wrath. The 7 trumpets are not only a warning, but also a reminder. All suffering and judgment are part of God's righteous plan. Ask yourself, if the trumpet sounded right now, whose side would you be on? Have you ever watched an action movie where every character had a key role in a perfect plan? Then you will be surprised to know that the angels in the book of Revelation are the heroes, or worse than heroes, in God's ultimate plan. They are not only messengers, but also agents of judgment. Buckle up, because the story ahead is full of suspense, excitement, and even a little creepy. The key to the abyss, the command to open the gates of hell. When the first angel was given the key to the abyss, what was the first thing you thought? Was he unlocking a secret vault containing treasure? Wrong. Instead, this is the door to a place where evil spirits are imprisoned, a horror version of Prison Break. When the door opened, thick black smoke billowed out, filling the sky, and from the darkness, a swarm of monstrous locusts poured out. But wait, these are no ordinary locusts, but demonic creatures with the strength of scorpions. They do not eat plants, but attack humans, causing terrible pain. Each sting is enough to make you wish you could die. But sorry, death is not approved in this period. 4 angels at the Euphrates River, the destruction line. When the 6th trumpet sounds, 4 angels are released from the Euphrates River, a place that is all too familiar in the Bible as the cradle of civilization. But this time, they come not to build but to destroy. Their mission? To lead a giant army of 200 million horsemen. Imagine a tsunami-like army. And their mission is to kill 1/3 of humanity. These horsemen ride on strange horses, with lion-like heads and mouths that spew fire, smoke, and sulfur. It sounds like a post-apocalyptic movie, but it's a biblical description, and it's enough to make anyone shudder. Judgment Day, the biggest stage in history. The spectacle of the great army and the gruesome imagery are not only meant to scare you, but also to emphasize one thing: God is in control. The angels do not act on a whim, but carry out God's perfect plan. Every event, every action is meant to be a judgment and a call to repentance. Even when the survivors stubbornly refuse to repent, they choose their own path of destruction. God is not a heartless destroyer. He is a righteous God, carrying out judgment with justice. Have you ever played a game where you had to choose sides? Then get ready, because in Revelation, there is no middle ground. 2 marks appear: the mark of God, for those who are loyal to God, and the mark of the beast, a symbol of rebellion and resistance to him. But make no mistake, this is no ordinary game. This is a battle between good and evil, life and death, eternity and destruction. The mark of God, the VIP protection badge. This is the mark that every believer desires. In Revelation 7 verse 3, angels are instructed not to harm the earth, the seas, or the trees, until God's servants are marked on their foreheads. This mark is not a tattoo or a chip, don't believe the conspiracy theories, but a sacred symbol of belonging to God. Those who bear this mark are protected from terrible disasters during the time of destruction. Imagine you are in the middle of an apocalyptic storm, but there is an invisible shield that protects you from all danger. It is the mark of God, the mark of the beast, the ticket to destruction. In contrast, the mark of the beast, Revelation 13 verses 16 to 17, is the choice of those who turn their backs on God. It is not only a symbol of rebellion, but also a condition for survival in society under the control of the beast. No mark, no buying, no trading, nothing. But this is the price you must pay: the loss of your soul and eternal judgment. Those who receive this mark not only abandon their allegiance to God, but also choose to side with his enemies. The terrifying thing is that this mark is not just an external form, but an inner confirmation that they are completely in rebellion. The fateful showdown. The 2 marks are not just labels, but public statements. Which side are you on? If you choose the mark of God, you choose life, redemption, and eternal belonging to him. If you choose the mark of the beast, you choose the path to destruction. Interestingly, Satan, the enemy of God, cannot create anything new. He can only imitate. The mark of the beast is nothing more than a distorted imitation of God's divine mark. But don't let its counterfeit fool you. The question is not whether the mark is real, but which side will you choose? Every day in life is a choice: to be faithful to God or to compromise with the world. If you want to understand this mark more deeply, subscribe to our channel today. Join us in discovering more mysterious stories, fascinating prophecies, and meaningful lessons from the Bible. And don't forget, with just a subscribe button, you can help spread the message of love and salvation to more people. Pick the right footprint and be a part of this journey.